Hello, this is my first video in my new series all about the rising signs, otherwise known as the Ascendant sign. So this is my first video which is all about Aries Rising. Okay, so people with Aries Rising come across as very independent, full of energy, and they can seem like leaders in some way, whether it's in a social situation or whether it's in their family, depending on what what their focus is in life. They can come across as leaders, independent thinkers, have very strong opinions and have their own thoughts on things and their own views on things, they like to be number one. They like to do well or do well in their chosen field. So something that they're passionate about, they want to be the best at, and they tend to put a lot of pressure on themselves to be that way, to be seen as doing well in their field of interest. So they can be stubborn. They can be very impatient. They're the type of people that definitely don't like waiting in lines or doing things that take up their time that are not things that they're interested in. Their egos are very strong, and they're very focused on gratifying what it is that they want to achieve or what they want to do, or what their desires are. So people with Aries Rising are very fiery. They are very fast-paced. So if they're out and about, they might have a quick walk about them. Other people might find it hard to keep up with them. If they're in a social situation, they might be the person that comes up with the ideas on where to go, what restaurant to go to, or what they should do, what everyone should do that night. They're definitely not going to be the passive person in a group. They're going to be either the leader or someone that stands out as with dominant energy, and they can be exciting people to be around. So when an Aries rising person shows up on the scene, people instinctively know that, one, there's someone that's a competitor in some way. So if you're also a dominant person, like say a Leo rising, you might sense that and feel that competitive energy from them, which it's not like they're trying really hard to put that out, it's just how it comes across naturally. And if you're a more passive person, you might feel a little bit intimidated by them because they are very strong in their aura and their persona and the way that they come across. As I said, they're restless, dominant. They can be quite blunt, and they also they're very straightforward people. They don't like to beat around the bush, and they're not going to sort of have a sideways kind of way of telling you something. They're going to be straight up front, unless of course you look at the moon sign to see if there's anything there that would indicate otherwise. But Aries Rising generally, kind of takes action first and then thinks about it later, speaks first and then thinks about it later, so that's why they're blunt, because the mouth just goes and then the mind might think afterwards, when it's sort of too late. So they, in terms of appearance, they can come across, physically quite strong or sinewy, muscular, and have a strength about them. It's ruled by Mars, so Mars is a masculine energy, so they are very masculine. Or a woman with an Aries rising could be quite dominant. They might be the dominant person in a relationship. Regardless of sex, the Aries rising persons are going to be, if they're in a relationship, they're going to be the dominant person most likely. They basically, whatever they do, they want to be number one, or they want to come first. I would say the Aries rising is not quite as emotionally as aggressive as an Aries moon, say, but they definitely have that presence of dominance about them, whereas an Aries moon has more of an emotional dominance in the way that they communicate, the way that they connect with others. So with children with Aries rising, toddlers with Aries rising, you might notice they bump their head a lot more than other children, because Aries rules, the part of the body is to do with the head, so you might find that with children with Aries rising. And they're constantly on the go. They're constantly just active. They're very active and very physical. So the activity that they seek is very physical activity and very engaging with life and very involved. But how they can express their physical prowess, or how they can express themselves physically, and they are naturally competitive. So they're aware of their ego's need for success, and their ego's need to come first and to win. So so in a family situation, if one of your parents is Aries rising, they're probably going to be the dominant parent, and they need to be in control or in a leadership role where they can have other people follow them and set some kind of example with people around them. So people do look to them for some kind of leadership, and they tend to stand alone in some ways. So they're not really. So in a group, they kind of like are on their own, but in a leadership role, if that makes sense. And they're very fiery. They love action-oriented things. They don't really like to sit still. They like to be involved in things, and they like to start new projects, but they do have to watch a tendency of not finishing things, because Aries is all about new starts, breaking out, being independent, doing things that they feel passionate about. And what else can I say about Aries rising? They're dominant people. They can be intimidating, not because they're trying to be at all, but because that's just their natural energy that they possess, which is very masculine, dominant, and desires to be seen, desires to express that ego self, So, so yeah, if you're Aries rising and would like to share, feel free to share. And the next video for my next rising sign will be a Taurus rising sign. Thanks for watching, everyone.